My name is Jennifer Moon, and today Marissa Aldridge and I are going to be presenting graphic reconstruction with descriptive research to you guys. And so the first thing we need to know is what is a graphic reconstruction, and graphic reconstructions are basically an organizer that allow researchers to demonstrate connections between different parts of their action research. And they really help us, as Sager put it, flesh out and examine details of our theories of action through the use of visualization and pictures as opposed to using words. And when using this with descriptive research, it's helping you understand what's occurring in your classroom. So basically, to do this, you're going to create the graphic reconstruction using these 5 steps that we're going to be discussing. So the first step is brainstorming variables, actions, and ideas. And so what you want to do within this step is you want to get sticky notes and you want to brainstorm anything that you could possibly think of that might be affecting the target that you're studying. And so it's really important to be inclusive during this stage of the process, because you want to really kind of go through all the things that might be happening that is affecting performance in your classroom. And so the next step is you're going to organize your ideas into different categories to find relationships between those ideas. And Sager recommends using a big piece of chart paper. And the great thing about using the sticky notes is you can kind of move those ideas around to make sure that you're really finding those connections. And he actually recommends focusing on problems, interventions, and targets as a way to organize your ideas from step 1.
Okay, and step 3 is called putting the items in sequence. And it's really just kind of putting all the ideas you brainstormed, all the sticky notes you made, into an order that makes sense. So Sager suggests using a large sheet of chart paper, probably the same one you had in step 2, and taking the sticky notes and going through kind of a 3-step process with them. So the first step is to begin by grouping all the items that describe the current situation or problem on the left. So what you're trying to fix, or whatever the problem is in your classroom, or what you're kind of trying to explain why is it happening in the classroom, goes on the left. And then in the second step is to group all the items that are related to your target or your goal, so what you're wanting to accomplish, over on the right. And then last, arrange all the other items, which should be the variables or the actions that you take to get to that goal, are in the middle. And then you're done with step 3 if you can explain why you group these in a certain way. To Sager just suggests if you can explain it to your students, if you can explain it to their parents, and then to one person who isn't in the environment, and if that person can understand it, then you are ready to move on to step 4, which is called proofing the graphic. And to proof the graphic, Sager suggests taking a few just kind of mental walks through your graphic representation. And I think this is really important. He suggests putting yourself in the mindset of someone else who might have a different point of view than you. And that way you can make sure you eliminate any biases you might have, or make sure you're including all the groups you might need to include to make your graphic representation as successful as possible. And step 5 is called finalizing the graphics. So that's when you're kind of ready to, that your graphic representation can be considered complete when you can say that the graphic explains why performance is as it is, because we're talking about descriptive research. So you're explaining why this is happening in your classroom, or why this is happening in whatever environment you're in. So at this step, you should have a full understanding of the issue that you're studying, and now you're ready to actually move on to implementing your action research.
And so now we have some discussion questions for you. And so the first question we would like for you guys to answer is, how could you benefit from using graphic reconstruction with your research?
Okay, and the second question is on page 83 in your text. Sager provides a visual. It's figure 5.8. I just want to make sure that everyone can find it because it's a really good visual. It helped me understand step 3, the step that's called putting the items into sequence. So we're curious, what would be the problems and the targets of your action research? So what are you either trying to explain, like what situation that happens in your classroom are you trying to explain, or what problem are you trying to find a solution to, and then what are your end goals and targets of your action research? So you can just list those or describe them.
And then this is just our reference for this text. The page numbers were page 76 through 85. And so we hope you guys are able to apply this strategy to your research.